Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Beltran. Beltran is from Argentina, but he lives in Barcelona. So let's see what Beltran has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hola.
Hello, hola, ¿qué tal?
How are you?
I'm very well, Beltran. How are you doing today?
Fine, quite easygoing. I didn't do much. I'm still recovering from the weekend. It was a lot of commitments and work and whatever. So
Monday is always a hard day to start the week.
yeah.
Just to check, am I saying your name right, Beltran?
Well, if you want to pronounce it correctly in Spanish, it's actually Beltran.
Beltran.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
I'll
little
try.
bit drier, but I give all my English-speaking friends the the pass.
All right, I'm gonna try my best to get closer to the Spanish version, okay?
Perfect.
So tell me where you're from, Beltran.
I'm from Argentina, from a region up north of Buenos Aires. It's mainly a rural area, but I was born and raised in the capital city of that rural area. So it was like I grew up in a urban kind of landscape.
Okay.
It's a middle to big city, so it was small city life.
Right. And right now, are you based in Argentina right now?
No, I live in Barcelona. I was living in Mexico last year and I moved to Barcelona at the beginning of last year. So I lived for 1 year in Mexico and now I'm here.
Right. And why did you change from Argentina to Mexico and now to Barcelona?
Well, after the pandemic started, I had a well-developed career in restaurant and food business administration. And at the same time, I was slowly developing a career in the entertainment industry and LGBTQ type of events and content creation and so on. And when the pandemic hit, all the things that was related to restaurant and gastronomy was like dead. So I kind of transitioned to a full-on performer and content creator career, and Mexico offered me a few opportunities to take my career one step up.
Amazing. And so right now you are literally fully just working as a performer, as a content creator right now.
Content creator, performer, model, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, I was checking your profile a little bit and I could see so many work have been doing right now. It's amazing to see you travel. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I use Instagram as my main portfolio. So if people wants to see what I'm working in right now, the best place to find it is Instagram. It's actually has more fidelity than my LinkedIn profile.
Amazing. Okay, Beltran. So before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about me. Well, I talk a lot, and I think that it's easier for me to create interesting situations because I have these communication skills that were given to me since I was very young. So my mother told me that I spoke when I was 3. I already had the costume of speaking a lot and maybe too much, depending on the person's tolerance.
You are in the right place. If you like talking, the Magic Box is the right place for that. Beltran, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yes, let's go.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Okay, full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Perfect.
I'm not... Okay, Beltran, before we start the game, during the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yeah, okay, don't worry.
All right. First question for you is, what's the biggest difference between you and your best friend?
I think that my main difference between me and my best friend are that I'm kind of a mess in terms of organization, like physical, the room and whatever. And he's 200% a Capricorn, so he's full on organized person, makes Excel sheets for everything. And even though I do also have a kind of a good sense of organization on some aspects of my life, usually my room's a mess.
And what is the biggest similarity?
I think we match a lot in the way we and on the opinions we develop on people, usually, and mainly on our acquaintances. I think we have like a lot of coincidences on what we think about the people that surround us.
And your best friend lives as well in Barcelona?
No, he lives in Madrid.
Madrid? All right. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question is, what is a significant event that has changed you?
Well, other than the obvious, which is the pandemic, I mean, I was changed not only as a person, but also like my whole career took a 180 degrees turn when I had to move from the industry that I thought that it was gonna be my main source of income for all my life, which was restaurant administration and gastronomy, to something that was beating, like slowly becoming something that was more and more interesting to me, and it's what I do today, and all the things that I do surrounding the LGBTQ entertainment and the content creation. So that was the latest and the more important event.
And when was the moment that realized that you would like to start this journey that you are living right now? What did something happen, or just it came naturally?
Well, I've had this artistic curiosity and all these questions and interest around art and body expression and dance and music, and what I do now, like use the body to connect and communicate. And since I was really little, I was like what in the US you could call a theater kid, even though I wasn't part a lot of the theater world. I only took like acting classes for 2 years or 3, but I had this type of personality where your mom like is all the time like cheering you up and and clapping, even though if you just like, I don't know, if you barf or whatever, just like yay. So I had this intention and this need to express myself, and I realized that that was possible after starting in the ballroom community. I started to see these things possible for a guy with my type of body when I started seeing that even though I saw very little representation of bigger guys in the night industry and entertainment industry, I saw some people like reaching out and trying to break those boundaries in the ballroom community, and I started voguing and dancing and studying and taking dance classes, and that take one thing to another, and that was the main step of the start of my go-go career.
Amazing. All right, next one, let's do it. Before the next question, tell me what you like the most about living in Barcelona. What's the best parts of the city, in your opinion?
I don't think there is a specific place. Well, there are many specific places in the city that I love to be there and just like stand and watch the sights. But the main thing that I love about this city is that is the urban designed the urban landscape, the way that you can move around the city, and the size and the distances where everything is.
Mhm.
So it's really nice, to move around the city is really easy. So it's the urban experience that a person living here takes, not only the tourist.
Tell me something about the language that you have the same language, but tell me like different word that you found quite funny, something different from back in Argentina, something that you went like, oh my god, I never knew that they talk this way or they express this way. There's something funny.
Well, there is something very specific that I can't avoid to mention. Is that actually the official language of this region is Catalan and not Spanish. So a lot of expressions come from that language, which is not a dialect of Spanish, it's a whole another language. But when I speak Castellano or Castellano Spanish with the people that are around me, there are some expressions that we differentiate a lot, and they have a complete other meaning in Argentina. If you say to a person "se corre," like to run, would be the direct translation. If you ask a person for them to run, to move in Argentina will mean to like move off the way,
Yeah.
and in here it will mean to ask the person to have an orgasm. So it's like this is the most difficult thing that you have like to start to take out of your vocabulary, because people start to think very, very wrong stuff when you say like, can you te corres?
And how would you say that in Castellano?
um and well, both of them are Spanish expressions, but in Argentina we use that to say like te puedes correr, like if you could you move, and here it will actually mean like can you
Ejaculate.
yeah, ejaculate. But here they would say can you move, like te puedes mover, o muévete de ahí por favor, no sé.
That's funny. Okay. Next question is, what is the most dramatic argument you ever had?
The most dramatic argument. Well, I remember being part of a very toxic group of people that had taken me into this kind of like group bullying or mobbing idea. It was part of an activism group, and they were like they were really how do you say good at trying at convincing me or gaslighting me into the idea that I was this type of villain, or that I was the person that was completely wrong. And when I started empowering myself and realized that I was not the reason of all the bad things happening, they kind of did like this awful intervention where I had to like it was really dramatic. So I had to stand up for myself, but not only to one person but to many, and all the other people that were neutral in the discussion. They were kind of put there intentionally to be like the audience of this non-consensual intervention, and it was really dramatic. It was awful.
Tell me how was growing up as a gay boy back in Argentina?
Well, I have to say that I showed more elements of my gender expression as a fairy guy. More campy. I was more camp than actually gay. I didn't express interest to other guys till I was very into my teenage years, but before that, the hardest part was my personality and my gender expression, and to be like I told you, very theatrical and whatever. And it was hard mainly because I was part of the rugby community also, and my father played rugby all his life, so he put me and my brother in rugby since we were very little, and those two things clashed against each other all the time because rugby was not still not ready for different type of masculinities going around there in the field. But in my family, I have to be honest, and I, even though there were some situations of typical homophobia and basic one that have more to do of with the society that we're part than my parents being too conservative, that was not the case. So I consider that my childhood was quite privileged to be a queer person because I didn't get those types of threats and comments that usually make queer people to stay in the closet for longer.
I see. Ready for another question?
Yes.
Let's do it. Next one. Hey, Beltran, from Argentina. Next question is, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or not, who that would be and why?
What a good question. I think that I would like to have dinner with there is an activist in Argentina. He's very well renowned, and he was also a very strong personality, and he was like, I would like to say it's not the same, but it's like the Argentinian version of Harvey Milk, these personalities that are not only up for their cause and their activism, but also they become a name in history. So I would say that I would like to have dinner with Carlos Jauregui, which was one of the founders of LGBT activism in Argentina. Because I've seen footage of his biopic, like the movie they made, the documentary they made about his life, and I found a lot of things in common and also a lot of things that were not being said. So I would like to ask him many questions on that.
I see. Question for you, Beltran. Do you see yourself living for a long while in Barcelona, or it's just a short period for you?
Yes, right now I see myself here for the longer possible. I'm not planning to move, or moving to another city is not in my thoughts near. But also I keep confirming the decision of coming here every time I travel around cities nearby, and I realized how good, like how great was the decision to come here.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question is, if you could have been a moment or event in history, which one that would be and why?
Wow, that's great. I thought about that a lot of there are three periods in history that I would love to be in. One of them is the ancient Greeks, but obviously the privileged part of it, like the philosophers, the guys that were like walking and talking in the agora and whatever. Then the more campy period of the Renaissance era, especially in the courts. I'm very picky on what it's in terms of class, obviously, because I think it's very interesting. And then the most important period of time that I would like to live and be part of is like Andy Warhol's studios, Studio 54 kind of era in New York, and that it was not that underground, but like that huge boom of queer performers, artists, and culture, and all the things that we see today materialized in modern art being made.
As an artist, what's the best part of express yourself, being a performer? And the flip side, what's the most challenging part?
The best part for me is to create moments for other people. I have to be honest. In terms of altruism, I don't think it's not an altruist motivation, because I get the enjoyment, I get that thrill, that that it's that high. It's like a it's like a drug. Like a high, but a good high. And Dorian Gray says that Dorian Corey, sorry, in Paris is Burning. It's an adrenaline, a rush of adrenaline that comes to you when you are there, and you see the effects of the moment you are creating. And the most challenging part for me is that even though I am in the spectrum of body diversity, I'm not so far to the center of that Gauss bell. But even though in spite that I consider that I struggle a lot, because I'm not the stereotypical body of a male performer or a go-go dancer or whatever, or any boxes that you want to put me in. So I struggle a lot when I see that people are having difficulties of not being able to enjoy my art or to value my talent, and they see only a body that they are not used to see, and they have all the reluctancy of what that means.
Tell me if I'm wrong. In my point of view, I've been living in London for so many years. I traveled to Europe. I've been so many places, and I have a feeling, or I have a feeling that nowadays people, they are more open-minded. People, they are more understanding. For example, as you said about the gay, the bear, the bear community. My goodness, I think they're so huge and big. Here in London, there are so many events like around Europe that the gay, the bear week. They have different places. I always had. Am I right? Do you think nowadays people, they are more, they embrace more, as you said, about their body, about their what they like, what the tribes that they're involved with? Do you think nowadays people, they are more open-minded, and the community has grown more?
Well, I think that due to the human rights and LGBT rights movement advance, like all the advances that it had, and it's thanks to the activists that came before us. All those rights that were kind of given to us, they created a better environment for queer people to come out, so that in terms of numbers, that kind of like makes us bigger. But I think that the strategies being deployed in the postmodern world have more to do with the ghetto type of logic than to conquer normativity, or to conquer being able to just be in public there, out there, and be like a common standard part of society. And it's because our difference, it's still being highlighted as a difference, and it's not just it's not part of the standard idea of diversity, that every person is different to another. It's not the same to be different, like a person taller to the other, than the difference between a straight person and a queer person. So I don't think that the whole thing has changed. And also we are seeing a lot of hate speeches growing bigger and bigger amongst the people and the voters, and the let's say the standard community. So I don't think that things are just better. They're better in some, they're better in some ways, but we are seeing some things that we should be aware of.
I see. Okay, I have 3 questions left for you. Let's do it.
Yes.
Before the next question, tell me a little bit about your podcasts. Entre Amigos or Scruff Latino?
Scruff Entre Amigos.
It's Café Entre Amigos. Okay.
Así es. Well, this is interesting because I was invited to be like the host of this podcast, and was invited to be part of this project during the pandemics before my decision to move to Mexico. And the whole project obviously was delayed because of the obvious reasons. And once the project was restarted, I was shocked that they were still thinking about me, and I'm still shocked that they thought about me. But it's interesting because like having all the options of content creators and people that advocate for LGBTQ people in social media, in journalism, and whatever, they decide me to be the host of something as big as Scruff Latin America.
Wow.
First podcast, and me and my co-host Johnny Carmona. The decision of picking Johnny was not so surprising for me because I was immediately was one of the person that I would put in the top 5 list of the profiles that were more accurate to be part of that. But because he's, you know, in Mexico, he's very well known. He was he was one of the judges of the local, like the national drag reality show, and then now he's the host of that. So he was one of the choices that I thought it would be obvious in the better way you can think about it. And now we are about to record our episode number 13. So it's been a journey for us, but the main idea of the podcast is to give voices to people that advocate for subjects that are not usually being addressed in the LGBT, especially in the cis gay, or on the male gay community. So we try to bring all these voices and bring these subjects to the surface to talk about them, like polyamory, or the culture of sugar daddies and sugar babies, or the bear culture, or fat phobia, mental health, sports, whatever, etc., etc. So racism, and for me it's interesting because it's a good way, like it's a platform that I would never think it would try to address this so serious subjects in this way, because we are used to see content created around dating apps that is usually more superficial, more shallow. It's about fun, and it's about gay entertainment and drag queens and whatever. So for me, it's a huge responsibility to take this platform of people that are obviously not used to see these discussions being shot. And so I think that the podcast is a great opportunity to address these subjects to people that I don't think they would go out and search and try to reach these types of conversations by their own means.
I see. Okay. Next question is, who was your first crush and why?
My first crush was a girl when I was, I don't know, 5 years old. I still remember her name is Natalia, and I think I saw her, I don't know, a lot of years ago when I visited my hometown. She was gorgeous. She was like the this Drew, like this E.T. Drew Barrymore kind of little girl. And I think that I still have this type of attraction to cuteness when a person sends out that energy of being cute, but maybe a little mischievous in very deep inside. I have a weak spot right there.
What's your star sign?
I'm a Scorpio sun, Gemini rising, and moon in Aries. And
you're born in November?
I was born in November. And
which day?
The 17th. The good thing about
my God.
I share birthday with RuPaul and with you.
I was born 17th of November. Oh my
Wow.
goodness. That's so incredible.
So
You know,
you,
said
me, and
about
RuPaul share birthdays.
oh my God, that's so interesting. You said something in the beginning about when you described a little bit about your personality. I said I need to ask him about if he's Scorpio or not.
I am.
17th of November. Oh my God,
I'm
that's
a very
amazing.
proud Scorpio, but also I study astrology for a few years now, and I found a very interesting thing about like the psychology of my raising up years, like of me being being raised by an Aries sun mother and being an Aries moon, and Scorpio sun father being a Scorpio sun. So I had to struggle with this father and mother identities for all my teenage years, and it
Oh
took
my
me my
God.
Saturn return a lot of therapy and a lot of work on myself to
Oh,
try to like detox all these like anger management issues, impulsivity, whatever.
oh my God, you just made my day now. My goodness. Oh wow, that's so interesting. I had over 800 interviews on the show so far, and it's the second person actually that shared the same birthday as me. There
Nice.
was a lovely guy from the US. I think 2 years ago we did the interview, begin when I started the show, and we were talking about birthdays, anything. And when he said 17th of November, I was like, oh my God, that's great. I didn't know that RuPaul as well.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, really?
Yeah,
17 is
and the good thing is like the funny thing is that she turned 31 the day that I was born, and I turned 31 last year, and because she's 62, and it was like, okay, I want to make a joke about this, and in the toast of my birthday I try to make the joke, and everybody was like this meme of the woman doing the math. Nobody understood the joke, so I was like, okay, so let's move on to another subject.
amazing. Two questions left. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Next question is, what is your funniest memory of your time at school?
My funniest memories. I remember having these hard laugh moments where your stomach starts to hurt for laughing too much with the group of underdogs that I have was part of in school, that we called ourselves Pedritos, like the small version for Peter in Spanish, because there was this homeless guy in the square in front of the school that would be like really really drunk when we came out of school every day, and he shouted and he created a whole show without being actually violent to no one. So it was just like funny in a good way. Obviously that these days we would not laugh about that, but in back in those days it was funny. So we were kind of the weirdos, not the only ones but one of them, and we would have these very original ways of having fun and making jokes and whatever, and it was our sense of humor that people usually didn't understand. So we would like do these like house parties and hang out, and I will never forget those years, especially because of the the fun that I had.
Did you like school?
Well, school was challenging for me because in some moments I think that my mindset and the way that my different intelligences work, it's not well formed for the classical formal education. And back when I was in school there were no other types of education, so I had a hard time with like trying to push my mind into the mold of what they were expecting us to be when we were learning in school. And Yeah, I mean, for a guy that doesn't express the typical way of being for a male guy, even though I was part of the rugby community, my character in school was completely different because I thought that I had more freedom, but the bullying was still there, and I was kind of this nerdy guy that wanted to, like do things differently, and even though I had respect of some of my peers, I still had a lot of difficulties to relate socially. So I don't remember school to be a happy, like the happiest place on earth.
Hmm.
But I think that I met really incredible people there, and they made my school experience a lot better.
Ready for the last one?
Yes.
Last question. Let's do it. Before the last question, I have one question in two parts.
Mm-hmm.
The first part of the question is, tell me one moment in your career as a performer that you go like, you know what, that was a moment that I'm never gonna forget. That's something that's always gonna place a special place in my heart. And the
Thankfully,
other,
that moment comes immediately to my mind, so that's easy. And the
okay,
other part.
and the other part of the question is, someone watched the interview, maybe, it's who wants to start a career in performing the gay scene, like the way you are doing right now, but for some reason, some things holding them back, or because their look, or because something that they feel insecure about, or maybe something that the society kind of, it's against them for some reason. What would be your best piece of advice?
Okay, for the first part of the question, the main thing that I will never forget is performing for the House of Avalon in LA twice.
Wow.
I worked for them in the party they usually host at the beginning of each month in the place in the bar called Precinct in downtown LA. The House of Avalon, for those who are not related to the term, is the artistic group that Simone and Gigi Good are part of. So I think that one, like the highest moment for me as a performer right now, was to perform there with them, to be in that place, even though it's not a huge venue, even though they're like just, like if you watch it in some perspective, they're drag queens and that's it. But for me, they are a reference and they're important. And I would never think that I was gonna be able to do that, even though like later in my career I performed for bigger stages like the Barcelona Pride or whatever. That was like huge. Huge. I mean, like I'm doing this because it was like huge audience. But still, that was like a hype, total hype. And for the people that want to start in the night entertainment industry, I have like one word of advice, but also how do you say oh, a warning. It's not a warning, a disclaimer. Let's call it a disclaimer. It's that you have to first of all like know the reasons. Like you probably know the reasons why you want to be performing, and if you are sure about that and you're committed to your persona, your stage persona, your character, the things you do when you're on stage, and the things you want to create, the illusions you want to create on people, that nothing can defeat you. But you will have a lot of difficulties, especially if you're not in the spectrum of what people would call usually a performer. But if you are there, if you are outside that spectrum, keep pushing, keep trying, contact the venues, the promoters, create your own content. You have a lot of tools nowadays. Social media gives you a lot of tools to create fun, entertaining content, to portray yourself, to show it like as your portfolio, like I said about my Instagram. And then you insist, and then you insist, and you insist, and somebody will you will knock the right door someday. But then the disclaimer is that night industry, entertainment industry, is usually demanding on that attitude from you all the time, of begging for opportunities. And it comes a moment when you also have to value yourself and stop begging for people to hire you and put you in places, because some of them will ask you to do different than what you are. So stay true to what you think you are, and stay true to your character and your persona. And if you want to mutate for a season, for example, to participate in a reality show, just do it, but come back to what you are and commit to that performance and keep on doing it. Don't change what you are for people that are making you beg for an opportunity to perform, because it will feel bad when you quit, when you la palabra en español sería renunciar, when you give up on what you are. So you have to be committed to that, and I think that will, I'm not sure if that will take you to success, but that will make you reach very interesting opportunities to perform and show the world the art you want to show.
Amazing. Next question for you is, if you had only 24 hours of life, what would you do?
I think I would travel to somewhere that I really, really want to be before I die. I'm not sure if it's Paris, Disney World, or whatever, but I will decide in a moment. But I will try to use those hours to travel as fast as possible. That's why I don't know where I would go, but I would not take a 12-hour plane. But yeah, I would try to go to a place that I've never been, and yeah, and see with my own eyes something that I've always wanted to see and I never got the chance to.
Amazing. It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. One word for family.
Mom.
Money.
A medium.
Love.
Difficult.
Life.
Challenging.
Sex.
Great.
Politics.
A word taken seriously. A work.
Religion.
A prison for gods.
Fear.
The most difficult obstacles.
Friendship.
Trust.
Desire.
A medium.
Regret.
Try not to.
Success.
Try not to.
One word for wish. Try
Commit.
not to. I'm joking.
Commit. Commit to your wishes.
One word for happiness.
Food.
One word for Barcelona.
Home.
One word for Argentina.
Also home.
One word for the podcast Craft Entre Amigos.
Necessary.
And the last one now, performer. One word.
What?
Performer. One word.
Joy.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to go to Madrid to meet your best friends for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friends, what is the most beautiful thing about Beltran, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What you would say?
What he would say? Oh my God. I don't know what's the highlight of him for me. I will ask him. I think that he has told me that he has a bit of admiration of my search for thriving, and something that I had to work also is the obsession that I have sometimes with my goals, and you know that I'm kind of stubborn in some sort of way. I'm very stubborn. I'm not just a little bit stubborn. So
So Scorpio.
yeah.
Let's play now, Beltran, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. You can ask me a question now, Beltran.
Yes. If you have to ask, if you would have to, do the interview to the Pope, the Pope itself, himself, what would be your first and more important question? If you say like, I have to not like f it up, so I have to be good at this.
I love the question. You literally put me in the spot. I wasn't expecting this question. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well done. Okay, let me think now, because I'll miss this opportunity. My goodness, I'm in front of the Pope. Right. Okay. Right. You know what? Okay. Right. I would tell him, I think you embrace a lot about peace in the world, about, peace, about, love, about passion, about, being good people. We embrace a lot about that. Why or how could you do for you to maybe be more open-minded, or find a way to understand about sexuality, about the community that we live in, because it's something so obvious, it's something so natural, it's something so true. There's nothing, again, it's not about choices, it's about being people, be ourselves, our true selves. So I'd like to ask you, why or please, let's meet or find a way to meet with people that could maybe explain that to you or your community in a way that that you could be more open-minded, and find a solution for that. A solution not for the situation, but a solution that you could be more understanding and embrace, and show the world that's something very normal. It's about being human. It's not about choice. It's about being ourselves, and it's so obvious. So I would like to ask a question. I'd like to suggest something. Let's make a meeting with people around the world, people that could explain to you in a very clear way, that for you, that you could embrace the the topic, the situation, and understand that all of us, it's not about choice, it's about being human being, about being normal. It's about we are people. So I'd like to somehow to get to this point with him, just for him to understand, but for him to get it, the message, and also be open to sit down with people who could explain him in a way that he could be more understanding. That's what I would just have this opportunity.
Great.
And I'll tell him, you're from Argentina, you are open-minded.
I have a friend that we share birthdays, that he's from Argentina too. Okay.
Did you enjoy the interview, Beltran?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being so kind and sweet, and to accept my invitation and express the way you are. I think the words you used in the interview is good. It's great to see someone, embracing, your the way you are, the way you are being happy. And I think people appreciate that. I think people, when they see someone, someone nice, good looking, talking about the way you express yourself, I think these people, it helps a lot of people to be more, to be more open, and also to encourage them to, to live a life, whatever they, their face or the way they look or whatever. There's always community for everyone. There's always a way for us to be around with other people as well.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so much.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message, something that you live by.
Okay. For everyone watching the Magic Box, I would like you to ask yourself, what things are you doing on a daily basis to encourage yourself and others to be more empathetic, and to work on the way of that empathy to affect yourself too in a positive way. Because I think that if every person in the society is a brick, the empathy is actually the concrete that you put between each brick to create this wall.
Amazing. Very good. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Did I say right? Did I say right?
Yeah, muy bien.
Thanks so much, okay? Enjoy your evening and keep in touch. It was a pleasure, okay?
Good
Bye-bye.
night. See you. Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.